Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to this episode of the Rip Griffin Show. My apologies for not doing a show last week. Life got in the way. Schedules were all out of whack. So we're back this week doing an episode with my good buddy out there on the East Coast, my buddy Brad. What's going on, man?
Nothing, dude. How you been?
Doing good. I'm excited because it's game one of the World Series tonight. We finally survived a 60-game season, and here we are, World Series, game one, Rays and Dodgers. It's going to be an epic matchup, I think. So far, it's looking like it's got the makings to be a good one. But how are things going on your end? I know you've got some projects that you've been working on.
I'm going. I'm busy. That's what it really boils down to. I started the whole thing with doing blogs. Now I'm doing the live streams in between, like coming on and doing the appearance with you, which I absolutely enjoy. I'm also doing the appearances on Monday nights with the Nest podcast, talking baseball with them. And I've been kind of slacking lately on the whole blogging situation, the whole blogging thing. But I started dabbling in podcasts, and as you know, I had you on this past weekend, and we had a blast. I think. I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely.
it was fun being on the other side of the microphone, being the actual host, and asking the questions instead of being like, yeah. So it's cool. Anybody that's out there listening, definitely come check us out or check the new show out. It's called The Swizzle Show. It's all about baseball, and I plan on touching on all 30 teams.
That's awesome. I love the name, the Swizzle Show. It's great, and it's definitely coming on the show this weekend with you. It was awesome. It was a blast. I appreciate the invite, and it's kind of fun to kind of get that different perspective of the being in charge of the show and kind of asking the questions and kind of getting that aspect of it. And then for me on the other side, being just sitting back, being yeah, sure, yeah, cool, yeah, but it's
I did a couple episodes by myself, and it kind of seemed a little boring, and it was just a little. I don't know. I seemed a little monotone, so I needed a guest, and the fact that I've been a guest on your show for however many shows I've been,
right.
I thought it was time for us to reverse the roles, and I was just like, you know what, how about you come on my show? So
yeah, it worked out
greatly
great.
appreciated.
Oh, absolutely. I appreciate the invite as well, like I said. But yeah, it's great to kind of get out there and kind of start a new branch of what you're trying to create and trying to build. And the podcast thing it's great. We've met through Twitter, through the IBWAA. Give them a shout out. And we've gone back and forth. We've connected, talking baseball, talking all things baseball related. We're sitting here talking about the World Series and we're actually watching the game, which is great. So, but I'm happy. I'm happy for you, man. I'm happy that you got your projects going. I'm looking forward to the blog when you get a chance to put one back out. So, keep it up, man. Keep it up.
I actually posted a blog today saying that I've been slacking, and it's more along the facts that like I've been. I don't know. It's I'm too busy watching the games that I don't really want to talk. To like sit there and type about it,
Right.
So, but
It's hard. It's hard not to because you want to put all your focus into watching the game, but then you got to do write a piece, and you have to think about it. I think that's what we were talking about this weekend, where you get that writer's block, like you were talking about, and it kind of makes it. I don't want to say difficult, but it kind of takes a little bit more time. So
yeah, definitely. It's definitely easier to talk than it is to write.
right, absolutely. But uh, but it's great. What platforms is the podcast on?
I don't know.
Spotify.
It's on Spotify.
Spotify.
Um, uh, I know it's definitely on Spotify. I don't know what else it's on. It's probably on like Google Podcast. I don't know exactly. I
I'm gonna
only use Spotify, so
let me see. I'm see. I'm gonna look it up real quick here. It might be on iTunes as well. Let's see.
I highly doubt it's on iTunes. I think that's something that you have to.
Oh, actually, yep. Boom. Here it is, right here. Right here.
It's on Apple. It's on iTunes. Wow,
It's on iTunes. I don't know if you can see that or not. But if
that's
anybody's watching
crazy.
at home or listening to the podcast, you can go check out the Swizzle Show on Apple Podcasts. So there it is right there. You can subscribe to it. Actually, I'm going to do that right now. So I just subscribed to it. So boom.
That's horrible that you knew that and I didn't.
But now you know. So you know
Yeah.
what platforms it's on. So you can, you know, kind of distribute and kind of let everybody know, whoever, whatever platform they listen to, whether it's Spotify or Apple or Google or wherever. So
Hey, is it cost anything to listen to podcasts off of the off of iTunes?
no, you just have to have your own Apple ID. So I sync it up with iTunes on my phone as well, and that way I can listen to it in the car and whatnot. And I've got the card connected to Spotify as well, so I can listen to it on either platform. So it's all good. So, but anyways, before we dive into today's show, I kind of wanted to give a shout out. I received I was actually, I'll start at the beginning. I was kind of bummed because I received my first 1-star review, and it's it happens.
Whoa! When did that happen?
A couple weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, I got a 1-star review.
You got to show me that.
The only thing is, I can see that somebody clicked 1 star because my rating was 5 stars, and I kind of pride myself on like 5 stars. I want to be like perfect, and
Right.
it dropped to 4.5 now. So I don't know if you can see or not,
Yeah, I see that.
but I got a 1-star review. I was kind of bummed, and even though I know things like that are going to happen, some people are not going to like the show. Some people are going to enjoy the show, like Andrew Lewis here, good buddy from in the Katy area, says great show. Go Rays. He's rooting for the Rays tonight. Yep, Brad's got his Rays gear on. Thanks, Andrew, for writing in. But so yeah, I was a little down, a little bummed, but it's okay. I'm gonna keep pushing through. And then I got a review on Apple, and it's from Stephen L. in Philly. It says 5 stars, awesome podcast, easily one of my favorite baseball podcasts. A good balance of interesting guests and fascinating topics. It is a must listen for all baseball fans. So I truly appreciate Stephen leaving the review, 5 stars. If anybody who's watching the show or listening to the show, go on Apple, Google, or wherever you can leave your review and give me 5 stars. And I'll do the same thing, and I will read your comment on the air. So I truly appreciate Stephen taking the time to leave a review for the show.
I actually see it right here. Stephen L. from Philly. Then you got another one out in April.
Yeah, that's from my good buddy Rob Fontenot from Astros Baseball Podcast. He was kind enough to leave me a review back in April, and then Stephen wrote in. So like I said, leave me a review, comment, question, on Apple or whatever, and I'll read it on the air. I truly appreciate those that take the time to do that.
Leave me a review on my podcast. I'll read it regardless if it's 1 or 5.
But anyways, so I just wanted to give Steven a shout out. I appreciate him leaving the review. But I want to jump into, before we jump into the reviews of the LCSs, it was very interesting that we had a interview pop up right before Game 1 of the World Series. And that was the interview that was done with Jeff Luhnow, who is the former general manager of the Houston Astros. Of course, everybody knows that he was let go in January because of his quote unquote, I guess you want to call his role, if you want to, or his, I guess, in his position, as like the interview stated, was, he's the general manager, so he's the one that's going to ultimately get the axe, or land on the axe, so to speak. And so you sent me the link. I finally got a chance to watch it and listen to it today. And I'm going to ask you this: what was your overall impression of this interview and how it was conducted?
So before we actually get into that, I just want to go back a little bit. I After the whole situation happened, and it came out in January, and him, AJ, and Alex, and Carlos Beltran, all those guys ended up getting fired, losing their jobs and whatnot. You already know, I read the Wall Street Journal article about Codebreaker and the dark arts, and in there, I can't help but think of like how much of a piece of crap Jeff Luhnow was. It just seemed like he was trying to deflect any wrongdoing. It's stated in the article that he knew he was talking to the video guys, telling them, "Hey, what's going on? We getting any signs today?" Things like that. The biggest thing that really irritated me was, I'm a Red Sox fan, and I loved Cora as the manager of the Red Sox, and he literally wouldn't even say Cora's name. He mentioned Cora as the bench coach. That was it. Now, fast forward to the interview that was conducted last night. There's a couple of things that I find a little funny about it. He said in the interview that the reason why he wanted to do it last night instead of beforehand, when like AJ Hinch did, he said he didn't want it to affect the Astros players or take any attention away from them, this, that, the other thing. I find it a little funny that it comes out the day before the World Series. I also find it funny that there's talks about AJ Hinch, and both AJ Hinch and Alex Cora coming back and getting management positions, head coach positions, and organizations. And there's no talk about Jeff Luhnow. So nobody's talking about this guy. And I just feel like he's like, oh, well, I need the attention. I want people to hear my side of the story. Now, the other thing, which I was talking to one of the gentlemen from Locked On Astros, that podcast, we were talking earlier today about it, and he made some good points. And he's like, I believe that he didn't know certain things.
Right.
But he also said that he believes that there's more to the story. And like, there's probably going to be something going on and like a 30-30 on this scandal that comes out in like 15, 20 years.
No, absolutely. Yeah, no, this is going to be something. I think there's a movie in the works, probably. Probably numerous books will probably be written based
Luna,
off this.
You said you would watch the interview, right?
Yeah.
So Luhnow said that he's in the works for a book.
Right. Now, I'm talking about, there's one that's supposed to come out next year that's actually written by a guy. Hold on, I can tell you who it's written. It's written by an analyst for SNY, which is Sports New York. The book is called Cheated: The Inside Story, the Astro Scandal, and a Colorful History of Sign Stealing. So, this book will be out sometime next year in 2021. But things like this are already starting to happen, that are already starting to be in the works. Of course, we know Jeff Luhnow's book is going to be, well, he's in the works. I don't know when it's going to be released. But, we're going to see all sorts of documentaries and movies and literature, books, and all that stuff that's going to be about this. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all continues to play out because it's not going away anytime soon.
Nah, I feel like the players of the Astros got away pretty like they got away with a lot this year because they didn't have the fan base out there razzing them. In all honesty, and I was a big person on the whole cheating scandal and whatnot, but it's like honestly, I'm getting tired of it. It's kind of getting old. Um, it might be time to move on. I know it's not going to happen. You have Dodgers fans out there that are forever going to hold a grudge. I mean, there's other scandals that had happened that were basically swept under the rug. We could talk about I believe it was 2013, 2014 Cardinals scandal when they were hacking into the Houston Astros database.
Right.
2017 with the Yankees and Red Sox and the Apple Watches. So it's not the first. It's not
No,
going to be the last, and it's just getting tiring.
it really is, and it's something that yeah, I get people are upset. I get people want the Astros. I mean, which obviously they're not even in the World Series. So you know, it's. I think what's going to happen is it's going to carry over into next year because fans didn't get to ridicule them. Excuse me, didn't get to bang on trash cans or yell at them from the stands during the game. So it's going to carry over until at some point it's going to. Hopefully, it will go away, and people maybe it'll go away if the Dodgers win. You know,
There's no way it's gonna.
but that's just something it was the timing of the interview came out and it was very interesting that the season had just ended for the Astros and then next thing you know before game 1 of the World Series this interview comes
Now,
out.
now the one thing that I did find a little interesting is that he said that he's not sure if he wants to come back to baseball, and
Right.
he's thinking about possibly looking at basketball or football. And I think he even said hockey, or did he say that not hockey because he's
he
never like paid attention to it?
he mentioned hockey but it wasn't something that he grew up playing or watching. I mean of course
Right.
his the way he uses his analytics and whatnot, and he can almost revamp any franchise, no matter what sport it is, and make it into a contender. The thing that I found interesting that he mentioned soccer, and I don't know if you saw this or not, but there's something came out between he was approached. Somebody approached him and Alex Rodriguez to purchase the Houston. I think it was the Houston Dynamo, which is a soccer team in the MLS to be
Yeah.
owners of the team because I think the MLS owns the Houston Dynamo if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure if anybody's
Okay.
watching, but he was approached to be a part owner of that organization, and I just find it interesting that the interview comes out, but then yet this other part comes out around the same time. So the timing is all very interesting, and like you said, I think there's more to it that we don't know. Um, in my opinion, that part where he was talking about the players and the connections that he had with the players, I think that kind of hurts the most, given that
Now, here's my question on the whole thing. Wasn't part of the suspension that you weren't supposed to have any contact with MLB like personnel at all?
um, I don't know honestly. I know he can't have any contact or be at the games and talk to league officials, but
Because
I mean
I
he
was under the impression that he wasn't allowed to even like talk to the players or anything like that.
that's a good question. I think it's something we're gonna have to look up real quick. And we kind of wanted to touch on this just briefly, but that's an interesting point now because if he comes out on the record saying he's talking to these players, is that a violation of his suspension? Um,
That's like as soon as I heard that, I was like, wait a minute, what?
yeah, I'm gonna look this up here
So,
because
uh, so right now the score is 0-0. The bottom of the fourth, they got one on. It's a 3-1 count against Will Smith. Glasnow is 65 pitches in the fourth inning.
he was struggling there for a little bit, gave up a couple walks, and it seemed like he couldn't find a location.
Yeah, he's having a. It looks like he's having a tough time right now.
Well, I don't know. He should be on full rest. I think he is.
Yeah, he's on full rest.
I can't. It doesn't.
But
Anyways,
well,
we'll have to.
yeah,
We'll
we
talk
should
about.
just skip through that.
Yeah. So we'll do some more research on the Jeff Luhnow thing because that's interesting. That you brought up. So we'll kind of just that's kind of a little bit on the Jeff Luhnow interview. It's on YouTube if you want to go check it out and listen to it. So, but anyways, we got a World Series going on, and we got two teams that went 7 games in their respected LCS series to get to this point tonight. And let's start with the Astros because I think the Astros, not because I like listening, I'm a fan of the Astros, but they're the team that in my opinion, I don't know about yours, should have won that series, to be quite honest. Because if you look at the first 3 games, well, actually, this kind of, we got a home run. Is that Bellinger? Bellinger just had a home run, 2-run home run.
Yeah.
Put.
So Bellinger was a question for me because of the fact that he dislocated his shoulder the other night after he did the bat drop and he did a celebration. He dislocated his right shoulder, I think it was. So I was questioning on whether or not he was going to be able to, his power was going to be there. And, well, that just proved. Now it's 2-0.
2-0 in bottom of the fourth. So anyways, let's go back to this LCS series with the Astros and the Rays. So throughout the whole 7-game series, the Astros actually out-hit the Rays 59-44. So you get more hits, you should score more runs. You out-hit that team for the entire series, but yet they couldn't put it together in Game 7 when it mattered. And we go back to games 1 through 3, and we look at the errors by Jose Altuve. The team had 1 error in Game 1.
I don't think he had any errors in the first game.
There was an error. It was a throwing error.
He had an error in Game 2 and Game 3.
But overall, the team had an error in Game 1. I don't know if it was Altuve or not, but yeah, he had 2 in Game 2, and he had 1 in Game 3. But the errors are ultimately what hurt the Astros because you take away the errors, then you've got a team that will score the runs, and ultimately they should have won Game 1. Game 2, they led just about every game, with the exception of Game 7. But they just couldn't muster enough to overcome those errors to get them into the World Series. And here we are. We've got the Tampa Bay Rays, a team that has a total payroll of $28 million. And you look at Kershaw and Betts.
That's prorated.
Right. Yeah. That's for 2020. Obviously, it's more, but I mean, this is a team that even though don't have a lot of superstars, but yet they can still put up runs. And pitching is fantastic. There's not much negative you can say about the Rays, at least in my opinion.
Nope. I don't think you can say anything bad about a team that, where their payroll is like a quarter of the Dodgers and the New York Yankees.
Oh, absolutely.
And we saw what they did to the New York Yankees, and they're in the World Series right now. So
that was a good home run by Bellinger. Into the it went into the Dodger bullpen. All right.
Is there such thing as a bad home run?
No. Well, I mean, I guess it depends if somebody catches it and loses their glove over the fence.
That's not a bad home run. That's a home run regardless. It's a bad home run for the guy that dropped it, like Jose Canseco, who let it bounce off of him. Something like that happened to Josh Reddick a couple of years ago.
Oh, I don't remember. That's interesting, but
I think it was at Fenway Park.
Really? It might have been in that short porch, in the short walls. But
that short, yeah.
But yeah, the Astros struggled. They tried to claw their way back in Game 7. You got to give your hats off to Charlie Morton, who's been in those type of situations, win or go home. He's always pitched phenomenal. He did it in Game 7 of 2017 World Series. Excuse me. He did it in Game 7 of the ALCS. So, yeah, you got to give your hats off to Charlie Morton.
Yeah, what was it? Morton's ERA and the Game 7 or like.
It's like under 1.
What was it?
It's like a
it's his ERA is ridiculous, and it all started when McCullers Jr. and him did the game back in 2017 and closed out the World Series. So,
yeah, the Astros should have done more to sign him for at least another couple seasons. And then he was able to walk.
I don't think he got a lot of money from the Rays.
No, I think they spent a little bit more than what they normally would like to, but they were able to get him. I think he's from that area too. So
yeah, he's from Tampa area.
So, but anyways, we've got the number 1 seed in the American League, the Tampa Bay Rays. And of course, they're squaring off against the number 1 seed in the National League, which is the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now I want to kind of pivot and kind of talk about the NLCS because I was rooting for the Braves. I wanted the Braves to win, but they go up.
Of course you did.
Yeah. If that's not obvious or anything. But anyways, the Braves go up 3-1. And you think this is the point where they can kind of put the Dodgers away and get back to the World Series for the first time since 1999. But the Dodgers are a team that will start to claw their way back slowly. And the Braves gave them a little bit here and there, and they took an inch, and the Dodgers started getting more and more and more. And finally, they were up to go to Game 7, and they just dominated. I think pitching was a factor for the Braves. Aside from your top 3 starters, you don't have anybody to ultimately, carry the back into that rotation in games, 4, 5, and 6, and even 7. Bullpen was great, but I think once you look at a team like the Dodgers and they see a reliever or a bullpen multiple times, they're going to start to pick up on things, little nuances here and there. But, the Dodgers were able to find flaws within the Braves bullpen and the Braves pitching to score more runs, obviously, to get themselves into this World Series.
Almost had free tacos.
Oh, man, wouldn't that be something?
Chris Taylor, still a taco. Chris Taylor, They called it a, wild pitch.
Man, he got a good jump on that too.
Well, I got my buddy messaging me right now on Facebook. He's like, it's like Chris Taylor with the free taco for everyone, and then he's like, they called it a wild pitch.
You think he'll try it again?
Someone's got to do it.
No, no. Just brushing back now. But anyways, I think the Braves had their chances. I think they just couldn't capitalize on the dominant Dodger offense that we've all seen them throughout the year. They score runs, they hit home runs, but I think the Dodgers just they overmatched the Braves in every aspect of the game, and here they are in the World Series, and you were rooting for them, weren't you?
Who was I rooting for?
The Dodgers.
Yeah, I was rooting for the Dodgers, and in a way, I kind of wanted a 2017 repeat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wasn't going to be disappointed if the Rays made it in. Yeah, I was rooting for the Rays, but I wasn't against the whole Astros Dodgers #2.
I think that would have been epic, to be quite honest.
That would have been. I'm telling you right now that would have been like a Boston Red Sox New York Yankees World Series.
I think
we know damn well that there would never ever be a Yankees Red Sox World Series, but even like an ALCS Red Sox Yankees, if you had the Astros and Dodgers, especially after what came out earlier this year, it's going to do numbers.
Yeah, because you can, look at it either way. Someone would say if the Astros won the World Series this year, oh, they did it through cheating, or, I mean, somebody would spin it some way or somehow. But it definitely would have made for a great. I think, in my opinion, would have been a better ratings booster if you had
Absolutely.
if you had Astros Dodgers rematch 2.0 in Arlington, nonetheless at a neutral site. I think it would have been a awesome World Series, in my opinion. And and I'm not trying to take away from anything that the Rays have done, because they had an exceptional season, especially going 40-20 in a 60-game series or a 60-game season. So I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from the Rays. They did great this year, but I still think if you had a Dodgers Astros 2.0 World Series rematch from 2017, it would have garnered a lot of publicity.
Yeah, you're not getting so much publicity through a small market team like the Tampa Bay Rays. I mean, there's the joke around the social media right now, like, oh, you're a Rays fan. Oh, you're one of 72 fans. So, I mean, the Rays don't have a lot of fans. It's been shown. Like, I think it was last year when they were in the postseason and there were just empty seats galore.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Come on.
Either that, it's just the city doesn't really want to embrace the team, or maybe nobody likes to go into to Tropicana Field.
Supposedly, it has to do with the location of Tropicana Field. I mean, it's not actually in Tampa Bay; it's in St. Pete. Right. So, I guess it's in a bad location. I've never been. Regardless of what people have said, it's a place that I want to go to just because it's another stadium.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only fully domed stadium left in Major League Baseball, and it kind of would,
Excuse me.
Man, you get some caffeine or something.
Really.
But anyways, I mean, yeah, it's one of those. It's the last dome stadium in Major League Baseball. It kind of has that feel. I've never been there as well, but just the look of the Astrodome back in the olden days. But I think, given everything, there was that whole talk this year about the Rays playing half their season in Montreal, the other half in Tampa or St. Petersburg. and that was going to be interesting to see how that was going to work out. But um, I think the Rays are due for an upgrade, especially within their stadium and their location, to try to garner more fans. Um, you know, they're not a team that's going to be
It,
flashy with the pocketbook or anything, but I think they're due for some upgrades. Ooh. Oh,
something happened.
oh, looks like you got kicked out of stream there. Had a little technical difficulties there, but we're back now.
I'm sorry, man. I had to use the phone this week because there's delay on my computer. So, and I don't have anything to set my phone on.
Oh, okay.
And I think my finger probably touched something
I
while I was
got you.
trying to grab my water. But yeah, I think that if something happens in the World Series, say the Rays end up winning, obviously there's going to be bandwagoners,
Right.
and I think the ownership will probably have to start thinking about either an upgrade or a move or whatever. I don't think Montreal is going to be the answer for the Rays. I can't
Right.
think. I mean, like the Montreal Rays. I mean, that doesn't
Yeah,
have a ring to it.
you'd almost have to. I mean, if you're gonna have a team in Montreal, it's gonna have to be the Expos.
Well, you
Um,
can't have the Expos because that name is owned by the Nationals.
I wonder how that. Well, that's interesting. I would think that since they moved the team from Montreal to Washington, that they kind of forfeit that right to have that name still. Because you look at, well, I guess that's why
Well, that would be like, all right, so they have a Nashville team that they're in the discussions for. Now imagine if they called that team the Nashville Colt 45s.
Oh well, yeah.
I
I see your
mean,
point there. Yeah,
granted, it was still Houston, but I mean, it would also go with like any of the teams out there. You can't just grab their name just because of the geographical location.
yeah, it's true. That's true. I see your point there. That makes sense. But yeah, I don't think how it would work having the team in Montreal for half a season and having the team in St. Petersburg for the other half. It wasn't going to work. But I do think if they do win the World Series this series, I wasn't say if they win the World Series tonight. Well, it's not we're not quite there yet. But yeah, I hope they are able to kind of get some things in the books to possibly get a new stadium going.
Or
So,
something.
so, but yeah, I mean, the Astros had their chances, the Braves had their chances, and unfortunately, those two teams are sitting at home right now watching the Dodgers and Rays, which kind
You
of
got to
tells.
feel like you've got to feel that the Braves had a better chance than the Astros. The Braves were actually up 3-1 against the Dodgers, and then they just collapsed. The one thing that happened during the Astros championship series that kind of like, as a Red Sox fan, kind of irritated me for the comparison. It
Right.
was because the Rays were up 3-0. Then the Astros came back and tied it up 3-3. And everybody, what happened in 2004 with the Red Sox? The Yankees were up 3-0 and lost in 7. And everybody was like, oh, is this going to be the year that the Astros become the second team to ever come back from a 0-3 deficit and bring it to a game 7 and win? I was glad that didn't happen. I'm glad that the Red Sox are the only team in history to ever be able to do that. I'm also glad that the Yankees are the only team ever to blow that. It was also said that Bregman had the team watching what was it, the documentary with the Red Sox in '04. So
Yeah, and that definitely kind of kicked the team in gear a little bit, especially when they took game 4, 5, and 6, and were able to tie this series up. But I mean, speaking about Bregman, he didn't have the best series at all, to be in my opinion.
yeah, he didn't show up.
He didn't show up. Yuli Gurriel didn't show up. I mean, Josh Reddick is kind of one of those. He
Did
only
Gurriel even get a hit? Did he even get on
he
base?
he got a couple hits. He drew a lot of walks, um, but that's something that Astros fans are not used to seeing from Gurriel because he's always one that's runners in scoring position. He's always driving them in, whether it's doubles or hitting a home run or whatever it is. It's he's bringing in the runs, and he did. I mean, the whole
Yo,
postseason.
look, pay attention.
Kershaw seems to be on point.
You're on a delay.
Yeah, I am. Well, I'm also got it on the ESPN app, so I kind of know
Okay.
what's going to happen.
Okay.
So, but
yeah, I was a little concerned about the. I've given a lot of excuse the language, but I've given a lot of shit to the Astros, especially this year, because I've expanded my horizon with all of baseball. You and I have talked about this recently too. So, my hatred for Carlos Correa is forever growing, and it was even more so with what happened earlier this year and him basically taking on the villain role.
right.
He's embracing being the villain, and it was funny because, well, not funny because you got Alex Bregman, Altuve, Yuli Gurriel. Those guys all kept their mouth shut pretty much, like tucked their tails between their legs and just played ball. Correa, on the other hand, he basically was like, screw you guys. This is what happened. You don't know what the hell happened. We still would have won this, that, and the other thing. And like, that made me hate him so much. But, and I talked so much crap about Carlos Correa too. And it was just, I got to tip my hat to him because he did show up in he showed up in the ALDS. He showed up in the ALCS. He was bashing homers, and I mean, I still hate the guy, but I respect him now.
Oh, absolutely. Your points are spot on, and I can understand why. He kind of did embrace the villain role, but he kind of also embraced the captain role. Whether or not, I don't know if he's
I agree with I definitely agree with the captain role, especially after what happened. I think it was actually Game 7. Valdez was pitching and Yonder Diaz got pissed off at something. I think it was the fact that he wouldn't pitch to him or something like that.
Yeah, it was game 6.
And Correa came out and was like, dude, you just do your thing. Don't even pay attention to this clown. Right. Again, got to tip the cap to him because that's captain. And also, before we move on from this, I'd like to say something which I thought was a little weird. In the Luhnow interview, did you find it weird that he mentioned Springer, Reddick, Altuve, Bregman, and Gurriel, but he didn't say anything about Correa?
I remember him mentioning some of the players, but he seemed to be kind of just rattling them off. I know he mentioned Bregman and Altuve primarily because he was the one that signed them to their long-term deals while he was still the general manager. But I really didn't pick up on that too much. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe there was a reason why he didn't mention them. I mean, of course, like we said a little while ago, we think that there's more to the story that we're hearing. But
Well,
what
yeah, that's
the thing that I noticed, definitely within that interview, and we'll kind of go back to it real quick, is he seemed to be very sympathetic still as to the whole situation. He still seemed like he cared enough about, even though he was fired from the team, he still seemed to care about the team. He still, there was that one point where the interviewer, she noticed all of his memorabilia on the wall. He still had all that up. So he still cares about the team and he still wants the team to be successful. And that's kind of say something. I mean, even though you just got blackballed in baseball, but yet you still have a mutual respect for the organization that gave you the boot.
yeah. I thought that was pretty cool. Even though I think he's a piece of, we'll leave it at that. The fact that he still has all that stuff is pretty cool.
Oh, absolutely. I think I didn't realize that he had won 5 World Series.
Yeah. When did he win 5 World Series though? That's like
That's
he was part of the Cardinals organization, and he was also part of the Astros organization. So I'm like, uh, where did he win 5?
I don't know. That's interesting. Cuz he said he had.
Yeah,
Oh,
he definitely said
he
he had
he
5.
he was only with 2 organizations, which was the Cardinals and the Astros. And
Right.
the Cardinals won 4 under, no, it wasn't 4, cuz I know they won in 2000, not 5, 2006 or 7. So he was part of the scouting department in St. Louis starting in
He didn't win at
2003.
7 or 4.
So let me see. I'm looking
He
it up here.
joined the front office of the St. Louis Cardinals in 2003.
Right.
Because the owner of the Cardinals found out that the Oakland A's had done. He had noticed what the Oakland A's had done with their Moneyball tactics, and was looking to run his team in a more analytical, data-driven manner. When he first hired Luhnow as vice president in 2003, Luhnow knew Devitt's son-in-law from working at whatever company Luhnow met DeWitt or whatever his name, and landed the job. Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know how he won. That's weird.
Well, my free preview to watch the World Series on Fox has ended, so now I'm going back to my ESPN app. But anyways, yeah, that's interesting how he won 5 World Series, but that's Jeff Luhnow. But so let's kind of jump into the World Series. So who do you got, and how many games do you think it's going to take to win?
So, on the Nest last night, they asked me the same question. I think that it's so. I want it to be the Rays. I want it to be the Rays in 7, but I think it's going to be the Dodgers in 5. We could push it to 6, and there goes Mookie. Still a beast, still a taco. We all just got tacos.
Thank you, Mookie.
Mookie Betts just got everybody some tacos.
And we can't get those tacos until like next week after the World Series is over.
Yep.
So we all have to wait another week.
It's actually
it's on game 1 too.
You know what's funny though? This is the second time that Mookie Betts has been the one to steal a base, steal a taco.
Did he do it in 2018?
Yes, he did. My buddy's gonna text me right now and tell me because he called it earlier. He's like, He's like, Mookie Betts is going to steal the base to get us all tacos. He goes, yep, it was Mookie. And I'm just like, F off.
So you're pulling for the Rays, but you think it's going to be the Dodgers in 5, possibly 6.
Yeah.
Okay. So
What about you?
when we did our initial predictions, I was good up until I was good up until the Braves lost. So
You were good up until the Chicago White Sox lost. What are you talking about?
well, that was my first bracket. Okay, we're going with the one that was my unofficial. This is my official bracket here because I actually had the Tampa Bay and Atlanta in the World Series with the Braves winning the World Series, but now that's out of the question. So now I have to choose who do I want, the Rays or the Dodgers, and
Well, being an Astros fan, I don't think you can actually go for the Dodgers. Isn't it kind of sacrilegious?
yeah, so it's the Rays. I'm gonna take the Rays, and I think it's gonna go 7. So I'm gonna go. I think it's gonna be a 7 games. Um, you know, I don't know. It's gonna be tough because pitching is gonna be key, and I know the Rays have such a dynamic bullpen, and Kevin Cash likes to mix these relievers up. And I was listening to MLB Radio on the way home, and they made a lot of good points about Kevin Cash likes to mix up his rotation. You don't know which guy to prepare for on which day, things like that. So he does mix and match. My only reservation with Cash and the way he uses his rotation is if one of his pitchers is dealing, like we saw Saturday night with Charlie Morton. If he pulls a guy out too soon against this Dodger offense, it's gonna be crazy.
You can actually go back to it if the Morton thing was Saturday night, then you go back to the Snell thing on Friday night. And I'm going to use some language here, but Snell was dealing. I mean, he was getting into a little bit of trouble. He had some runners on first and second, but he had a shutout going on. I think he was in the 5th inning, and Cash came out and he pulled him, and you can read Blake Snell's lips, and he's like, "What the fuck are we doing here?"
Right.
Absolutely. So it is. There is a case of like Cash can sit there and take the guy out. There's some things where analytics do work, and then like if you remember when Dusty Baker sat there and he trusted Zach Greinke when everybody's like, "Why is he keeping Greinke in? Why is he keeping Greinke in?" He left Greinke in, and Greinke ended up winning that battle.
Absolutely. I think.
And then that very day, I think it was, or the day after, Cash pulled Snell. I think he had like 70 something pitches or something like that. So,
oh yeah, and that's going to be I guess you want to call the Achilles heel, if these pitchers are dealing, and it's the World Series, and ultimately you're trying to win it. And if your pitcher's on, you've got to leave him in. You can't pull him at such. Regardless of the pitch count, if he's 65 pitches, or if he's whatever it is, if he's settled in, it's going to be because if you trust your bullpen enough to keep you in the game, then yeah, go for it. But in my opinion, if I was the manager, I would leave my pitchers in and let them dominate. If they're dealing. That's me. I'm not going to play the analytics, especially in a World Series where it's winner take all.
I'm not a. I don't know. I don't even know what to say, honestly.
Got you stumped. But yeah, so we got Dodgers and Rays going on right now. It's still 2-1 Dodgers in the bottom of the fifth. But man, it's going to be a great World Series. I think both teams are.
So,
Uh, what was
so
that?
I got a question here. Um, did Justin Turner like change his stance?
I don't know. I can't see it now, so I don't know what.
Ah, dude, it's so weird because I remember him doing that stance where like the front his left foot would just like tap down and like now he's completely flat footed.
Interesting.
And the only reason why I noticed that is because I hated that.
But man, that's all I've
So
got for this show for this episode. It's been uh, it's been great. Kind of recap. The Jeff Luhnow thing, and the championship series, and we finally get to a point where we have a World Series, something that we probably all thought may not happen in 2020, but it is. It's going on right now. We got two number one seeds that are vying for that ultimate prize. So I think it's still going to be a great World Series no matter what. I don't know about you, but I want to see the Rays pull it out. I think they're the underdog in this series, and I think they have a legitimate shot to actually win it all.
I I want the Rays to win, and this is the reason why. So Heim Bloom, who's the Boston Red Sox chief of operations, chief of baseball operations, he helped build this team. So with that being said, a lot of people have been giving him crap because of what he did. He, traded Mookie Betts. He didn't get a lot of anything out of it except for, he got Alex Verdugo and Jeter Downs and Connor Wong. But I mean, like, the pitching situation was really terrible in Boston, but that's besides the point. Heim Bloom helped build this team, and I think if the Tampa Bay Rays can pull it off, if they could pull it off, then it would shut a lot of haters up that are like, oh, we need to fire Heim Bloom.
Right. No, I agree 100%. I think it'll be interesting to see if they pull it out, what a team with a very small payroll and how effective it can be. And it might be, I mean, we're already seeing teams do this, but we might see more teams continue to do that money ball approach and go with a lesser payroll, but get more guys that can kind of be effective. No, you don't think so? You're shaking your head at me like,
No, I'm
no.
shaking my head at what they just did.
Oh, well,
I'm sorry.
sorry, I don't have
They
the.
had, yeah, I know. They had runners on second and third. Max Muncy hit the ball to first base. The guy at first base went and threw it home instead of going to first base. It's like, really, guy?
Oh
You should have
wow,
just went straight home. Not home first.
wow. So fielder's choice
So,
puts the
but
Dodgers
no,
up.
I I agree 100% with the Moneyball situation. I read an article. Was it this weekend or whatever? I did a thing about the Yankees on my podcast, and I read that Hal Steinbrenner had lost about $200 million this season, and so he's going to be looking to try and get get some of that, recoup some of that money by like cutting the payroll somehow.
Yeah,
Um, in a sense, with it being the New York Yankees, that's kind of laughable because you don't really think of the New York Yankees cutting payroll, especially when they have to they absolutely have to sign a guy like DJ LeMahieu, and they have to go out and get pitching. Um, I see that happening there. I don't know any other team that's really going to be trying to do the money ball situation, but I mean, you never know.
right. Oh, absolutely. I think it'd be interesting to see how if teams decide to dive into that section of or whatever you want to call it. That um, I don't know. I'm confused. I'm confusing myself now.
It's more of the analytical situations
Yeah.
because Moneyball is basically driven from analytics and less from like, hey, let's go spend the money.
Right. But anyways, we got a World Series going on right now. It's 3-1 Dodgers, bottom of the fifth. So, but man, that's all I've got for this episode so far.
All right, dude. Well, it's been a pleasure. It's been a blast. Before you let me go, I just want to make a quick plug.
Oh, absolutely.
So I have a giveaway going on my Twitter.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
The giveaway is for a 2020 World Series Championship New Era 5950 hat. 5950 hats are what the players wear on the field. I don't have the hat in my possession, obviously, because we don't know who won the World Series. But once it's been announced who won the World Series, the giveaway will be announced. The rules of the giveaway is you have to just go on my Twitter, which is BRS Baseball 83, and you have to quote or tweet my penned tweet. Is that how he would say it?
Yeah.
Tweet
Yeah.
my pen tweet, retweet my penned tweet. Yeah, you follow me and retweet my penned tweet.
So,
Say that 10 times fast.
So it's pinned on your page, and you just retweet it.
Yeah.
Is that better?
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and the winner will be announced the day after. I will message that person, and we will figure everything out, and I'll get you a hat for free.
Well, that's an awesome
I'm
deal, man.
just trying to boost my followers, man.
Come on, people. I know you guys want a World Series, whether you're a Dodgers fan, Rays fan, baseball fan in general, a free hat. You can't pass it up. So be sure to go to his Twitter page. And what is your Twitter handle?
It is BRS Baseball 83.
Head on over there. Follow, give my boy Brad, give him a follow, retweet the contest, get into it, win a free hat. You can't, there's nothing better than a free hat. Anything free, to be honest. But
I don't care what you do with the hat. You can burn it. You can do whatever you want with it. Just.
and
also make sure to check out my new podcast. It's I guess you can find it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. It's The Swizzle Show. It's baseball content. It's stuff that I'm talking about. I've had Rip on my show this past week. Go check that out. We talk about the Astros. And the next episode that comes out is going to be about the Boston Red Sox. So definitely check it out. I plan on doing something about each club.
That's awesome. So go check it out. Give him a listen. Give him a follow. Give him a review. Do whatever. Help my boy Brett out. He's doing such a great job with his blogging, with the podcast, getting it going. So much props to you, my man, for getting all that going.
Thanks, dude.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to subscribe to the show on all the major podcast platforms, Apple, Google, Spotify, you name it, it's there. If you want to rewatch the show, head on over to my YouTube channel. There you can watch this past current show or any other show in the past. Subscribe to it. Leave me a review. Tell me how I'm doing. If you leave me a review on Apple, I will make sure to get your review on the air. So that's going to do it for this episode, guys. I appreciate you listening, and we'll talk to you soon.